I have never believed in anything supernatural. But there is one thing I still cannot explain. Last year, my husband bought a doll wearing a yellow lace dress at a flea market. The first night, my daughter said, "Mommy, she said she wanted eyes." The next morning on the dining table, I saw two glass eyes, just like the eyes of the cat that died last night. From that day on, I started recording everything with my home camera. I just wanted to know if someone was still watching me from the dark. I usually get home after 11. That night, the moment I opened the door, the house smelled like paint and rust, the kind of smell you found in an old basement. Aaron was sitting at the kitchen table with a taped-up cardboard box. He smiled. "Found this at the flea market? Cheap. Look." Inside was a porcelain doll in a faded yellow dress. Smooth face, no eyes, just two black hollows. "You actually bought this?" I asked. "It's antique, 100 years old." "You're giving that to Elowen?" "She loves dolls. It just needs cleaning." Elowen came running in with her coloring pencils. She stopped, stared at the doll, then said softly, "Mom, she said she wants eyes." Silence. I tried to laugh. "Who said that?" "Her." Elowen pointed at the doll. "She said she wants to see." Aaron brushed it off. Kids imagine things. But her voice? It didn't sound like pretend. That night, I put the doll on the living room shelf, covered it with a towel. Tick, tick. The wall clock was the only sound. Around 3 a.m., the TV switched on by itself. The screen flashed static. Blue light flickered across the wall. I unplugged it. The whisper stayed, soft, behind the wall, like someone breathing words. The towel had fallen. The doll sat upright facing me. Its empty sockets catch the light as if wet from the inside. I stepped back. My skin went cold. Then a voice, a child's voice, whispers near my ear. "I just wanted to see you." I froze. And from that night on, I swear, something in this house started watching Thao back. Camera footage, 3:17 a.m., the living room. View from the TV shelf, static interference, dim hallway light. The towel slides off the doll. A faint clink, like glass tapping glass. Then the feed cuts. We watched it the next morning. Aaron zoomed in. The doll's porcelain face was tilted. A small crack at the mouth, so shaped almost like a whisper. "Did you move the camera angle, Day?" I asked. He shook his head. "No, it doesn't rotate." I wanted to laugh, but couldn't. When I went to make coffee, I froze halfway. On the table sat a velvet box, deep red, slightly damp. It hadn't been there before. I opened it. Inside, two glass eyes, clear, shiny, each with a tiny dark streak. The exact color of Murmur's eyes, our cat, the one that died last night under the car. "Aaron, did you put this here?" "What?" "These eyes." He looked. His face went pale. "You're kidding me. I've never seen that thing." I called Elowen down. She rubbed her eyes, still half asleep. "Sweetheart, did you take this from somewhere?" She looked at the box and whispered, "She told me to keep it safe. She wants to see the light." "Who told you?" "The girl in the yellow dress. She said she'll give it back tomorrow." Aaron grabbed the box, walked outside, tossed it into a trash bag, tied it tight, left it by the curb. I told myself it was done. That night when Elowen was asleep, I went downstairs. The doll was still there. But the head was slightly turned toward the stairs, listening. At 3 a.m., it started again. That clink. I checked the live feed on my phone. The doll wasn't on the shelf anymore. It was on the floor, facing Elowen's bedroom door. I ran down. The living room was freezing. When I switched on the light, the doll was back on the shelf, exactly where it always sat. I turned off the TV and started up the stairs. Then I saw it. The velvet box on the table. Wet, open, empty. A thin trail of water ran from the box to the stairs, glinting like melted glass. Then, click. The red light on the camera turned on. It was recording. And in the screen's reflection, someone was sitting next to the two figures on the couch. One small sitting upright, one larger key leaning close. After 3 seconds, the image jerks, cuts to black. The last sound, a child's laugh, distorted. The next morning, Aaron printed the still frame. He circled the shapes. "See this? Looks like her, doesn't it?" I didn't answer. The small figure had long hair, a yellow dress. The bigger one, sitting right beside her, had a hand on her shoulder. "Did Elowin come down last night?" I asked. We checked the hallway cam. No motion. "Probably a glitch," Aaron said. "I'll change the card." But deep down, I knew. Something was moving here that the cameras couldn't see. Around noon, I cleaned the living room. Under the couch, I found a scrap of lace, hand-stitched, yellowed with age. Smelled like damp wood and old smoke. I threw it out. 3 minutes later, it was on the dining table. Then, footsteps upstairs. 3 steps. Stop. 3 steps again. Stop. Like someone learning to walk. That night I said, "We should get rid of the doll." "I already did." "No, I mean far, away." "It's gone, babe." "No, it's here." I went to check. The shelf was empty, but under the table, a small outline in dust shaped like a sitting child, with tiny fingerprints pressed inside. Next day, Elowin came home holding a plastic bag. "She gave it back," she said. Inside was the doll, dirty, wet, hair tangled, and a small note, childlike handwriting. "You forgot her eyes." That night I locked every door. Aaron tried to joke. "I'll burn it tomorrow." I didn't reply. I sealed the doll in a box, placed it in the kitchen cabinet, locked it. But around midnight the smell returned, paint and rust. The cabinet door was open. The box sat on the counter, empty. Next morning the teacher said, "Elowin seemed tired. She said her friend in the cabinet didn't sleep last night." I forced a laugh. "She dreams a lot." That evening, I checked the footage. 3:12 a.m., kitchen cam. Cabinet door opens. A small figure steps out holding something close to its chest, then looks directly at the camera. I stopped the video, didn't want to see more, but the red recording light stayed on. And from the speaker, a whisper. "I'm not leaving, Mommy." Infrared view. The door opens slowly. Elowin steps out barefoot, eyes open, not blinking. She turns toward the camera, but doesn't seem to see it. I paused the video there. I wasn't sure what scared me more, the fact that my daughter walked in her sleep, or that she didn't blink once for 7 minutes. That night I checked her room. Everything looked normal. Her crayons, her stuffed toys, the moon-shaped nightlight. But then I saw it. On her desk sat the doll, perfectly upright, hands folded in its lap. Like someone had posed it carefully. I had locked it away. The key was in my coat pocket. At 3 a.m., the clink came again. Closer this time. I opened my phone, watched the hallway feed, green light, grainy image. Elowin walked slowly, hands loose at her sides. Behind her, the doll's shadow moved with hers, step for step, never changing distance. I whispered into the mic. "Elowin, stop. Please stop." She stopped. Didn't turn around. Just tilted her head, listening to something behind her. Then the signal cut. Camera footage, 3:04 a.m., living room. The girl stands in front of the dark TV. On the screen's reflection, 2 figures, hers and something smaller, shoulder to shoulder. The ticking clock echoes. Every second the screen flashes faintly. Then both figures raise their heads at once. I told Aaron in the morning. He said, "It's just reflection." I showed him the clip. "Look, I wasn't downstairs. Who turned the lights off?" He said nothing. That night I stayed awake. At 2:37 a.m., I heard her door open. Elowin stood in the hallway, eyes wide, holding the red velvet box. "What are you doing?" I whispered. She said flatly, "She can't sleep. She needs to borrow eyes." The box fell, empty. Elowin collapsed backward like something pulled her. Lights flickered, and in the living room doorway, the doll stood, head tilted, hair swaying though the air was still. I pulled Elowen into the bedroom, slammed the door. Footsteps outside, 3 steps, stop. 3 more, stop. Then silence. Camera footage, 3:22 a.m., hallway cam offline. Static, a flash, a small hand pressed against the lens, 5 fingerprints, then darkness, morning. Elowen woke up blinking hard. Mom, why do my eyes hurt? I couldn't answer. The doll was gone. Only the velvet box remained, open on the table, say, inside a wet scrap of paper. On it, in shaky letters. She can see now. Wind. Footsteps on gravel, my voice shaking. If anyone ever finds this recording, don't go to his house. I found Silas Marin's address from the flea market vendor. Be careful, she said. He hates that doll being mentioned. His workshop stood by a drained canal, red bricks cracked, sign half rusted. Morin Daughters, Doll Restoration. I knocked. No answer. The door creaked open. The smell hit me. Paint, turpentine, scorched leather. Inside was dim, a single lamp over a wooden table. Dozens of half-finished dolls, some headless, some eyeless. On a metal tray, 2 glass eyes gleamed, reflecting the light like they were alive. You came to reclaim what should have stayed buried, a voice rasped behind me. I turned. Silas stood there, pale, brittle, hands powdered white with porcelain dust. You made it, didn't you? He shook his head. I didn't make it. I called it back. He opened a drawer, pulled out a small notebook. The cover said, The Seeing Child. Inside, sketches of the doll, and a single line, Eyes given must be eyes taken. What does that mean? Silas looked at me, eyes cloudy. The eyes are the bridge. The soul sees through borrowed sight. You trapped a child inside? No, I gave one shape, but light is life, and light travels through others' eyes. I whispered, It took something from my daughter, didn't it? He didn't reply, just pointed to the shelf. There, the yellow dress, wet hair, right arm stained brown-red. That's mine, I shouted. It followed me home. No, he said softly. It chose you. Every mother who's lost a child, it finds them. To see again, through love. The lamp flickered. The doll's eyes glowed faint blue. Silas shouted, End it, before it learns to see without you. Camera footage, 11:49 a.m., workshop interior. Phone camera tilted on table. I back away. Behind Silas, the doll's head turns, a dry click, shutter-like. Lights explode white. He screams, Don't look at it! White noise for 12 seconds. When the picture returns, he's gone. I ran outside, no one behind me, the phone still recording. And on the screen, my reflection blinked, but I hadn't. Back home, the house was quiet. Elowen's door was open. The doll sat at her desk, holding my phone. The screen played back the workshop footage. Silas's voice, faint, trembling. If you see yourself inside its eyes, it's already too late. I looked into the mirror beside me. Elowen stood behind my shoulder, and in her eyes I saw a perfect circle of glass, slowly turning. My voice trembles. If anyone finds this, tell Elowen I didn't forget. I just kept the promise the wrong way. I never went back to Silas's workshop. The police said no one had lived there for years. I didn't argue. I only asked if they found a small brown notebook. They hadn't, but I knew. It was still here. Or worse, back in my house. The house was too quiet. Elowen was asleep. No ticking clock. No hum from the TV. I opened the cupboard under the stairs, pulled out the velvet box, and inside, a dry piece of paper. Eyes given must be eyes returned. Then I understood. It wasn't blood it wanted. It wanted vision. The way we see love, light, and memory. And unless I gave it back, it would never stop. Camera footage, 1:28 a.m., living room. The doll on the table, candles flickering, the rusted music box of Silas on my lap. my voice shaking. "I finished the promise. You will see again, but you must leave." The doll's eyes glowed faintly. The reflection hit the camera. My face on screen blurred, cracking like glass. Wind through the window. Elowen woke up, whispering, "Mom, she said thank you. She wants to see the sunrise." I held her, standing by the table. "Go," I whispered. "See the real light, not mine." A dry click. The music stopped. The candles died. When I woke again, the doll sat on the table, eye sockets empty, arms folded like prayer. Morning, Elowen asked, "Did she go?" "Yes," I said. "She said you won't see her again, but when you look at the sun, she'll look back." My daughter smiled. I didn't. Final footage, 6:05 a.m., a living room. Dawn light through the window, the eyeless doll sits quietly on the table. The camera catches sunlight glinting on its face. 2 shadows pass, me and Elowen, then a third, smaller one, by the window. It doesn't move, but when the light shifts, it smiles. The screen was white, the doll was still sitting on the table. In the sunlight, a beam of light bounced off the wall, splitting like 2 open pupils. After 2 seconds, the lens automatically focused, reflected in the porcelain, a figure standing right behind the camera. I woke up to the sound of wood cracking. Not the floor, it was inside the wall. I shined the light, whoa. The crack ran from the socket to the door frame like dried blood vessels. When the light hit the table, the doll raised its head. Not quickly, not jerkily, but as if someone had lifted its chin from under the table. I stepped back. The refrigerator suddenly turned on. The reflection flashed across the TV screen, showing me... In my reflection, I was blinking to the rhythm with the doll. Aaron was away on business for 3 days. I was home alone with Elowen. Every night I heard Silas's music box playing, even though I never touched it. Elowen began to draw. Pictures of eyes. Hundreds of eyes. They covered the bedroom walls. "Mom, I only draw what she sees." "Which one?" "The one in the wall." On the 3rd day, the lighting in the house changed. I couldn't tell when it was dark and when it was light. Every camera reported lens reflection overload. I took out the memory card and checked it manually. Recovered clip, 21:21 p.m. Elowen sat on the floor. In front of her, the doll. Both of them blinked at the same time. After each blink, Elowen's image became a little blurry and the doll became clearer. After the 5th time, Elowen disappeared from the frame. Black screen, the girl's voice whispered, "Now she can see through me." I screamed. The room was dark, except for the red flashing light of the camera. I called out to my son. No answer. I ran upstairs. The door to his room was open, the window was ajar. The wind blew the drawing paper everywhere, all with a pair of empty eyes in the middle. On the table, the velvet box was open. Inside, a pair of human eyes, wet, fresh. I backed away. From the hallway, I heard the sound of children's footsteps. 3 steps, pause, 3 more steps, pause. Then the sound of a music box. I looked at the hallway camera. The lens was turned back toward me. It wasn't a technical error. Someone was controlling it. Footage, 3:14 a.m., hallway. A small figure stood in the middle of the hallway holding a doll. The light blinked in time with her breathing. The child's voice echoed alongside the adult's, the 2 voices overlapping. "She borrowed my eyes, and patum. Now I borrow hers." I ran over, holding her. Elowen opened her eyes. The light in her pupils swirled like a camera lens. I looked, saw my reflection, trembling, and behind me, Silas Morin standing, smiling, his hand touching my shoulder. I screamed. The camera screen exploded in white light. All the lights in the house went out. Final footage, 7:10 a.m. Living room. Morning light flooded in. On the table, only the doll and the child remained, both sitting, both looking out the window. A woman's voice came from the speaker. "Light doesn't die. It learns who to live in." 3 days later, the police knocked on the door. Aaron followed them to the basement. I didn't go. I just stood on the stairs, listening to them call, "Oh my God, there's a lab here." The basement. where Silas used to come to fix the electricity in my house. No one knew what he left behind. The walls were hung with dozens of old photos of children, their eyes blacked out. On the table, a hard drive labeled The Seeing Project. They played back a segment of it. Recovered footage, research file, 04, Morin Project. Female voice into microphone. Test 4, subject El Morin, transferring light perception to porcelain medium. Another voice, male. Model responds, eye movement synchronized with donor's heartbeat. A soft laugh. The female voice says, she's seeing through it. I recognize that voice, my voice. From 10 years ago, I was involved in this project. I laughed in that recording. Silas is not a demon. He was just trying to save his child. And I helped him do it. We created the Seeing Child, a doll that can retain light perception, allowing the dead to see the world again through the eyes of others. But the price is the next child to be chosen. Elowin. Final footage, house security, 9:06 p.m. The window opened, yellow light poured in as if it had a human form. The doll sat on the table, no longer empty-eyed. In it, 2 pupils glowed amber, just like Elowin's. A small voice came through the speaker. Now she can see forever. I watched that scene 100 times. Each time it ended the same. There was only one small change. When the screen went dark, a new face appeared in the reflection. It was me, but my eyes were no longer mine. System note, a file corrupted after playback 73. Auto-generated text. New link established. Dr. M. Quinn, the mother prototype. I no longer dreamed of Lena or Silas, only light, moving around the house, following Elowin's breathing, and when she looked at me, I knew. There were 2 people looking. One was my child. The other was the child whose eyes I had once signed. Mom, Elowin whispered, when I look at you, do you look back? I didn't answer, because I was afraid. If I answered, the light in her eyes would borrow another soul.